What's going on, everybody? This is the one and only King Cow 516. We're coming live and direct here, talking about the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson. Anybody who's been paying attention recently, I've been noticing that Klay Thompson has been releasing these videos outside of his offseason regimen of him doing his rehab, and it's been amazing to see. And I'm definitely excited about Klay Thompson. I'm hoping to see him have a bounce back year. I'm hoping to see him come in, light up those hoops, light it up to a big time capacity. And so we're starting to see some rumors happening that's kind of coinciding with his rehab. And my belief is the Golden State Warriors this past offseason were a fringe playoff team. They got to the play-in. They weren't able to advance, but they were a fringe playoff team. And with Klay Thompson and how he can open up the floor with Steph Curry together, how they can create spacing, how they can make everybody better because you just move the pecking order down with Klay coming back. I expect the Golden State Warriors to be in the title hunt next year. I expect them to be very aggressive in this offseason to try to get another piece in there. But the word on the block really with the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson is that early in the season, they're going to be slow to bring him back, and that they may not want him to be ready beginning of the season. They may hold him back a little bit, continue doing his rehab, and bring him on a little bit later in the season. Not too sure how long that's going to be, but they want to be very careful since Klay is coming off back-to-back season-end injuries. They want to make sure they're careful with him, so don't be surprised when he does officially come back that he'll have some sort of minutes restriction. And part of the easing the burden off of him is going to be a situation of if you hold him back a little bit in the beginning of the season, that means less games he'll play in general. And then obviously when it comes to the back-to-backs, things like that, they're going to play those by ear and things of that nature. But, in the media, we've been seeing this trade, a potential trade with the Toronto Raptors of Pascal Siakam for James Wiseman and the seventh pick in the NBA draft this season. And I always say when you see these things leaked, there's a couple of possibilities. Whenever you see information of certain trades in the NBA league, there's always certain possibilities of where these trades come up. The person releasing information could just completely make it up just because it might be something that they think could be done. So that's always an option. The other option is that not only that, but the teams involved could be one side of those teams could be who's releasing information for leverage, or it could be coming from the player agent and that side. And so in this case, my guess, if there's any legitimate to these reports, my guess it might be Toronto Raptors, which is a very interesting thing because with the Raptors, I'm not really sure if the Raptors are looking to retool or rebuild this offseason. And the main reason for that is most of the core of that championship team is now kind of gone. You have a few remnants left, but Kyle Lowry is a free agent. And so for me, everything with the Raptors and what they're going to do next season is all based upon, are they trying to re-sign Kyle Lowry or are they going to move on from him? Because if they move on from Kyle Lowry, then they're in a rebuilding kind of phase, and they're probably going to rebuild with Van Fleet and Siakam. But if you're rebuilding, you're going to be open to opportunities to maybe get some assets. And so Pascal Siakam will be the best asset you have in order to do that. And so these rumors coming out make me believe that it's probably not the Warriors and maybe it's Toronto. And my guess is Toronto might not be going hardcore trying to get rid of Pascal Siakam, but it might be these things they're listening to some feelers just to see what can happen in that regard, just to see what might go on as far as what offers they can get. And then, as they assess it in the offseason, they can make up their mind, okay, yes, we're definitely going to go do a rebuild, or no, we don't like these offers. We're just going to bring everything back and just see what happens next season and then decide after that. So with the Raptors, it might be interesting to see what's going on. But my guess is, they could be just throwing out this trade to the media just to see if any other teams see that and just start showing interest. But it's kind of like one of those things where I feel like they're just kind of dangling it a little bit, but they may not be 100% serious unless somebody comes with an offer that woos them off their feet. Now, if this deal were to go through some form of this deal with maybe a couple other pieces and the Warriors were able to get Pascal Siakam, let's say they keep Wiggins, that'll also just help them ease Klay Thompson back in next season. That'll buy them even more time where they don't have to rush Klay back. They can keep strengthening him, keep conditioning him, keep working on his range of motion to get him back to 100% full capacity. and just keep them fresh as long as they can. And so, a lineup of just consider this a lineup of you can actually move Siakam to the 4, and you can move Draymond to the 5. So it would be a little bit of more of a small ball lineup. They might struggle against some of the teams with those bigs like Phoenix with Aiden, or like Denver with Jokic, Philly with Embiid. But you can have a couple centers of size coming off the bench. You could change your lineups. Considering you could change your lineups depending on the matchup. Maybe you bring one of those guys off the bench to be a 6-man. I mean, that'd be a pretty expensive 6-man, but I see the Warriors being able to work this, especially like I said, if Klay doesn't start the season, you're throwing out Steph Curry. You're going to throw out whoever you're going to have at the shooting guard, but you're going to have some kind of combination of Curry, Wiggins, Siakam, Draymond Green until Klay comes back, and whoever they're going to put in those other spots. But imagine when Klay Thompson comes back. Now you're talking about Steph and Klay, which is completely going to open up the court. It's going to completely take things to a whole nother level of making it easy for other guys. And, with Wiggins and Siakam now, you're talking about Siakam has a decent post-up game. So you could play a little bit through the post if you want to, and he can kick out to the shooters that are cutting. Wiggins is a good cutter. Wiggins is athletic. But now you're talking about if you move Wiggins to your third, fourth option, now you're talking about a team that can do something. With Wiggins being your number 2 option, his skill set, he's not that kind of guy. He hasn't shown to be that kind of guy yet. But move Wiggins to the third or fourth option if you have Siakam, then okay. Now you're talking. Now you're talking about depth, and now you're talking about with Klay and Steph, the amount of easy baskets that are going to be there for Wiggins and Siakam, because you're not going to be able to double them as much. That Golden State team will just outscore a lot of people. They're going to outscore a lot of people, and they have a couple guys who are physical enough who can guard the wings, and Siakam and Klay. Remember, Klay's a great defender, but Klay won't always have to defend the best defender coming back, and that's another way that you can ease some of his load, because before his injury, remember, Klay was guarding some of the best players in the league, and you can ease some of that pressure off him with Wiggins and Siakam. So defensively, Draymond's a good defender as well. So defensively, that team is still going to be very good defensively. So I know I've seen some people saying that this doesn't make any sense, but you could ride with that team, see how it goes halfway point, and then maybe if you really like how Siakam's doing, maybe you just flip Wiggins for another piece that maybe fit a little bit better if it doesn't seem to be a great fit once Thompson comes back to show he's strong. And God forbid anything happen to Klay Thompson, but once again, if the Warriors are able to pull this off and keep Wiggins in the process, I like the trade because it just gives them assurance, and unfortunately when you have a major injury like Klay Thompson has had, trust me, you just don't know how it's going to be. And luckily for them, Klay Thompson doesn't necessarily rely so much on his athleticism. He's a pure shooter who can just light it up. He's pretty tall. He's about 6'7". He's playing shooting guard. So he's a big size shooting guard. But at the same time, we've seen it. I'll give you great examples. Some of these guys, Boogie Cousins, he wasn't the same. He hasn't been the same. Now he looks like he's getting back in the fray, but Boogie Cousins has never gotten back to all-star Boogie Cousins since those major injuries. You know what I mean? And so we're hoping for the best for Klay Thompson. He's looking good. And for those of you that might not have seen any of him this past offseason, just go check out Klay Thompson on Twitter. He has these posts of him on boats. It's amazing. I like the vibe he's having. He looks like he's in a good place. And so, with this kind of season in the NBA where we've had so much injuries, I'm hoping next season, and this playoffs to me has been great because if you think about it, the top 3 teams that we've all thought, the Clippers, Lakers, and Nets, none of them going to win a championship. I think this was a success for the NBA in adding more desire even coming into next season to see who's going to be the cream of the crop. When you have a situation where you don't necessarily know who's going to win, you think you do, but those people don't win, I think it adds more suspense and more intrigue to everything. So, with that said, the Golden State Warriors, to me, my opinion, in all honesty, is that they are going to be a force to be reckoned with if healthy. Siakam, if they are able to pull that, will be a nice insurance. Whether Klay can come back fully strong or if something happens and Klay can't come back fully strong, adding Siakam will definitely put them in that playoff stratosphere. But a healthy Klay Thompson is going to put them in that title hunt. All right. So anyhow, that'll be it for this show for today. Make sure that you guys follow the Swish Flames Podcast. Make sure you add us. Check out www.swishflames.com for more information. We are just starting. You're going to see some posts. You can hit us up at Twitter, Swish Flames, at Swish Flames on Twitter. Expect more things to come in the near future. I'm signing off. This is your host, the one and only King Cal 516. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care.